Hey everyone, Ultraviolent 4 here. We're going to be playing Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. You've all seen the title, you know what we're playing. It's going to be a vampire assassin. Why? Well, Uskayaw is the only god in Crawl that I've never won with before. In fact, I've never even properly played it before. So I wanted to try that god out. I asked you guys what you thought were some good ideas for things to play with Uskayaw. The two main things that I had back, first of all, he's really fun and really strong with a short blade user, particularly if you're able to stab things. So, Vinestalkers and vampires are two things that have an auxiliary bite, which is really good on short blade weapons because they swing really fast. Every swing you get to bite. That's one thing. The other idea that I got back was that Uskayaw is pretty good with ranged users because the way it works is you very quickly build up piety as you start hurting things, which means if you fail to stab it, or say something wakes up, if you're ranged, you get the ability to start hurting it, start building up your piety and getting your abilities going before it actually gets on top of you. I put those two together, came up with a vampire for the short blade and an assassin because they start with a blowgun, and the skill that you use on a blowgun is throwing. So I thought I'd try to be kind of greedy. Maybe we're reaching for too much here, but we're going to be going the stabbing route and we're going to also try to throw things. Vampires are kind of fiddly. I think they get more hate than they deserve. I quite enjoy playing vampires. They have it's a hunger system whereby the amount of blood they have changes their abilities and their things like their resistances in their region. So I think people get kind of scared off when it's really not too bad. So vampire and assassin. Assassins start off with a bunch of stealth, which is really good when you're a vampire, and also a blowgun. I'll point out to you though that if you're looking for a character who purely stabs things, you probably want to be playing a hexer rather than an assassin. Alright, so let's see. We start off with we're at regular hunger and a potion of blood. Vampires don't use any regular food, they just quaff blood. And in fact, just the other day, there have been a couple of changes in Trunk. One is that food was overhauled, so now the only type of food is just called a ration, and all species can eat those. There's no bread or meat or raw jellies, etc. The other change was that mutagenic chunks got removed from the game, and I'll admit the blame for that one. The devs obviously saw the last game we played where we ate a bunch of mutagenic chunks and mutated an insane set of mutations. Devs saw that, they were like, no more, we gotta stop this. We can't let this happen anymore. That's my bad. Alright, so you get some innate properties that you get at all satiation levels. You have razor sharp teeth, which is an auxiliary attack where you bite. You can see invis, and you can survive without breathing, which is interesting. But that means a few things. It means you shouldn't get slept by dream sheep and a few other things. I don't know. It's not a huge deal. Alright, so one of the things that I think really helps with vampires is, I'm going to leave this in the description of the video, but there is a setting you can put in your options file that automatically puts your potions of blood onto the letter Q. And because Q is your quaff button, if you do that, it's very easy to drink blood because you just press QQ. I think just that change alone makes vampires a lot easier to play. Alright, so we're kind of going for a whole bunch of things here. I think we've got -1 for fighting, whereas we've got +1 for dodging. I usually like to go at least one defensive skill, I think we'll start off going dodging over fighting. Note that we have a +5 aptitude as a vampire, so we're definitely doing stealth, although I don't know that we're going to focus it. I think we'll go, man, are we going to train a million things? This will bother some people. I think maybe we can train like this. Or maybe I want fighting as well. We'll just start like this. We'll do 4 skills. So throwing might seem a bit odd to start off training throwing at the start of the game. And the reason for that is the blowgun that we started off with as an assassin. There's no blowgun skill. Instead you use throwing. It means you fire more often. Your needles have a higher chance of poisoning, of hitting and poisoning. Okay. We've got 8 poison needles and 2 curare. Your curare, you want to save. They're really good for taking down an early unique, that sort of thing. The problem is every time you fire one of your needles, there's a chance that it might mulch, which means it's destroyed. So hang on to your curare unless you really need it, lest you run out of them and then you find you met Sigmund after you used all your curare needles on regular kobolds and that sort of thing. Alright, so I guess that's what we're going to go with. I'd like to get some fighting pretty quickly. And I think I should show you this. That's not the button. That's the button. I think you can get this somewhere in game, but this is what our table for vampires' hunger stats looks like. So you've got, for the columns here, you've got the different levels. There are 4. You can be satiated, which is normal, which is what our character is at the moment. It doesn't actually list anything. When you're satiated, you're basically like a human. You have an innate level of negative energy resistance. And once you get to level 4, I believe, you can turn into a bat. If you go to full, you lose access to bat form, you lose your RN, and you get fast regen. As you go thirsty, you start... your HP regen slows down, you get extra stealth, and you get innate poison resistance and protection from cold. That's really good. You lose your ability to berserk though, so you're becoming less human and more like a vampire. Finally, if you get all the way down to bloodless, you have no natural regen. You get 100 stealth, you're immune to poison, 2 levels of RC, and torment resistance, a bunch of other things. Yeah. I don't like to get down to bloodless if I can help it though, because not having any health regen can be a bit sketchy. A bonus though is that when you're bloodless and you stab things, you regain HP. So you can run around in bloodless being a really stealthy stabber if you really, really want to. And I guess we're going to play. Let's see, we're looking for an Uskayaw, I don't know. I think I like saying Uskayaw. If you were a modern day Viking, I feel like that'd be a good name. Sounds very Scandinavian. We've got a +2 dagger as well, which is what your assassin starts with. A +2 dagger, a blowgun, and a cloak, which is giving you 1 AC. Alright. Okay. So what happened there, or the leopard gecko hissed loudly, so it's probably going to awake the kobold. But what I'm trying to do here by running back is to split the leopard gecko from the kobold. I don't think he heard us though. Let's see. Our blowgun started off on B, so we've got our dagger on A and our blowgun on B. If we hit the apostrophe button, we'll switch between A and B. And I'm going to fire a poison needle or 2 at it. All 3 of them missed. I guess that's why you keep training throwing. I'm going to give this a go at just fighting it with our dagger. We don't have much other choice. If we XV it, we can see that the leopard gecko is fast. So we're going to have to fight it. And we could potentially just die here. But a +2 dagger is pretty strong. So what happens when we butcher it is we get extra blood. Alright. And I'm just going to stay at normal. I'm not going to I quite often like to just pretend that I'm a troll and walk around full so that I have high HP regen. That's way too much stuff. We're not going in there to fight all that at once. That's our almost 6 points of stealth paying off there. Those guys didn't notice us. But that is insane. Alright, we got a bunch of dudes here. It's still okay. We'll go get our blood again. But yeah, what I'm going to do is probably sit around satiated. If we ever drop down to being hungry or thirsty, as the status is actually called, I'll probably quaff back up to normal. The reason why I'd like to stick around, maybe there's an argument for walking around with high HP regen on D1, because you're very unlikely to see adders here or other poison enemies, which would require you to want the R poison, and we don't have access to bat form yet. He can do up to 5 damage. We should start backing up. I'm going to run down to this pillar here, and we're just going to run around it a bit to get our HP back. I want to be out of 2 shot range. He can do 5. So say we had 8 HP, which is what I think we had before. He hits us for 5, and we're like, okay, now we have to run. And then he random energies, hits us again, and could kill us. Whereas if you always have 2 max shots from an enemy, even if you factor in random energy, they're not going to kill you. I should also be walking around with my blowgun out. So if we see an enemy that we want to blowgun, we can blowgun it without having to switch to the dagger first. Although an argument could be made that if we see an enemy that's asleep and we want to stab it, we want to have the dagger out so we don't have to switch. I don't know. I would prefer to wear the leather armor, I think. We don't have any spells, so we're not worried about that. The thing that this will change is our stealth. I'm having a look, we've got 3 pips of stealth. We're also 3 AC, 12 evasion. If we put... I didn't even pick it up. If we put the leather armor on, we go to 4 and 11. It's cursed, which is the really fun thing that can happen, even though it's a plain looking item. So we don't have a choice, but the game tells us we still have 3 points of stealth. So it's not a huge stealth difference. There probably is a fraction of a pip in there somewhere. But we've got 1 extra AC. But 7 potions of blood. He's just throwing stones. We could throw stones back if I wanted. So we could quiver our own stones. I did that with Shift Q. We've got almost 2 points of throwing. So we actually can just engage in a stone throwing battle. We've got a scroll there. That's still in a single. If I get a second scroll of something, I'll read it. Because it's very likely to be remove curse or ID. We just found a stack of poison needles on D1. That's amazing. We've got 16 in total, so that was an extra 9 poison needles. That's extremely lucky. This is an absolute nightmare. This is a D1 null, which on its own is terrifying, but it's a D1 null with a whip of electrocution. This could very easily just one-shot us. So if we were talking about, I probably shouldn't have stepped back. If we were talking about enemies that are worth using a curare needle on, this is one of them. Shift Q to quiver the curare needles. Quivering doesn't change anything. And then we're just going to shoot him from back here. Because he's still asleep, the curare needle won't miss. And I suspect that 1 curare needle will just kill him. So we're going to fire that. I got a warning on to test if I really want to do it. And yes, so curare does heavy poison. It does some damage when it first hits, so he immediately lost half his health. And he got slowed. And we're just going to back off. And he did die. we went up to level 3 because that's a lot of experience. And alright, strength, int, or dex. We don't know that we're going to be casting spells yet, so I'm kind of tempted to be going strength to use heavier armor. Even if we're being stealthy, heavy armor is still okay. Otherwise we could go int, hoping that, or at least gambling that we're going to cast spells at some point. And dex wouldn't be bad either, because dex is a big factor in how high your stealth is. Basically what I'm saying is that any option here wouldn't be bad, but I think the thing that keeps our options open the most would be strength. And it is in fact level 3 that lets you become a bat. So as long as you're not full hunger, you have the ability to change into bat form. It melds all your stuff, so you lose all your armors, you lose your weapon. So you drop to with 0 AC here. Usually it's either 0 or 1. I think it depends a bit on your stats. But the thing to note is that your evasion is really high, we're up to 20, and you become really fast. You get, where's our speed? It doesn't actually say. Interesting. 6 aught movement. Seeing as a normal move is 10. What does that mean in speed? It's wrong one. Okay, 6, 10, I don't know. I'd have to pull the calculator out. I could work it out, but the pressure of trying to do math while everyone's watching me fail is very high. Just know that in bat form you're really fast, so you can run from most things. I think it actually makes vampire a relatively strong species. It's not amazing, so it's not like your minotaur or your deep dwarf, but I'd say in terms of strength, a vampire is definitely an above average strength species. A whip of a lek. Okay, we don't have any maces and flails training, but in the early game, a whip of a lek is an insane weapon. So let's see. We swing it. I'm looking at the top right here. The number in brackets is our last action. So we're swinging at 0.8, 0.9 with this +2 dagger. Let's check the whip. Could be cursed. No. This one, even with no training, we're at 1.1. I think this is worth it. I'm going to put the blowgun on W. Similar to doing QQ for quaffing, doing WW lets us go to the blowgun. And then I'll put the dagger on... No, I'll put the whip of electrocution on B. So we can have the dagger if we want to stab things. We've got a whip of elect to fight things, and a blowgun. And I don't know which one is best to run around with. Probably it's either the dagger or the blowgun. Either of them is very good. The reason elect is so good, not only because it does insane amounts of damage. Yes, stabbed. Look at these stabs. But also it does a flat amount of damage, so as long as it procs, you're going to kill most things in the early game, straight up. We just drop to thirsty. If we do shift A to look at ourselves, oh, you have to press X. Oh, here it is. I knew the menu was somewhere. So exclamation marks lets you see this, but in the game. We're thirsty, so we currently have poison resistance and cold resistance. I don't really want to be thirsty, because I guess it's not horrible. It gives us a bit of extra stealth and our poison. Maybe we'll try it. We'll run around like this. Definitely don't want to go lower than thirsty though. Don't want to be bloodless. Alright. This is actually very effective. We just dropped to very thirsty, so we hit our QQ, and that bumps us back up to normal. Very quickly back down to thirsty. At this point, it might be better, as in just straight up better, to walk around thirsty, because it's on D2, where you can first start finding adders. And being resistant to poison against them is very, very good. That's a Che Altar. We're looking for Uskayaw. We've got 17 blood potions. That's an insane amount. I don't know. I guess we should be using the whip. Is this a second one? No. What has he got? He's got a dagger of venom. Alright. So we are thirsty, so we've got our poison, so we're not as afraid of him. This one might arguably be better than the electric whip. Let's test it out. It's a +2 dagger venom. It definitely is just a straight upgrade to our +2 dagger. Alright. I think I'll keep carrying the whip of elect, but I think this is just better. First of all, we can stab with it, and second of all, we've got training for it. But venom's also really good on a fast weapon, because each time you hit, you poison the enemy. And because we have bat form, we can very, very easily poison something and then just kite away from it as a bat. Don't want to try on the ring until we have remove curse, because it could be bad and cursed. Alright. Well, we don't have our... We don't have our poison, but I think that's okay. I'm going to throw just a stone. I'm doing this with F. Hey, we did some damage to it. Alright, so we don't have our poison, but we're going to start fighting the adder. And if we start getting poison and die, there are two things we can do. First of all, we can quaff more blood to become full, and that will up our HP regen. I actually survived in the last tournament. A vampire got lethally poisoned to an adder on D2. I quaffed all my blood to get to full, and then I lived. That was pretty MLG. But the other thing that we can potentially do is switch to bat form and then run away from the adder. Yeah, did it. Went to level 4. Pretty good. That's the second scroll. He's got a sling. We could pick up the sling. Hunting slings are extremely powerful in the early game, and they also cross-train with throwing. So you see we've actually got 1.2 of sling skill. I don't know. I don't think we need it. I think it would probably be optimal to pick it up and use it. But if we want to hit stuff from range, we can always use our blowgun. But yeah, slings are OP. That's basically the main secret to winning the early game, is just pick up a sling. That's a D2 worker ant. That's extremely scary. They're fast, but they are more dangerous than an adder is. And the D2 adder is dangerous enough. They are vulnerable to poison though. So we want our blowgun. We're going to fire not curare. And in fact, we've only got one curare. It looks like when we fired at the null before, we actually mulched it. So we're gonna quiver the other one. I just want to show you. See how there's a exclamation mark F there? That's to warn when I fire it. There's a setting for that too. Maybe I'll also put that in the description. But so you don't accidentally shoot the working ant, you go, oh no, I nearly wasted the curare. No, I don't really want to fire it. And we just shift Q to instead do the poison needle. Sweet. He's going to tick out the poison really quickly because he's vulnerable. The adder is not. I spent most of my crawl career thinking that they were. It was only very recently that I learnt. In fact, adders aren't. But yeah, we can't get blood out of a worker ant. Most insects don't have blood. If you get spider's nest, that actually makes vampire really, really painful. Gonna check this hatch. And there's a shield, which is interesting. I like the idea of the shield, but it's gonna hurt our stealth quite a bit. Hey, there are sling bullets if we want to actually go all in on slings. Also faded altar. If we weren't trying to go Uskayaw specifically, I'd be tempted to worship at the faded altar. It's got a short sword of flaming. I'm going to pick that up because we might end up, say, fighting a ghost. Actually, if we're fighting a ghost, I'd probably use the Whip of Electrocution. The point is that I'm thinking about enemies that are poison, immune, or resistant, in which case the Dagger of Venom is not so powerful. Alright, on to D3. I'm going to read the double scroll here. It's ID. I think it's best, as tempted as I am to do the ring, I think it's best just doing our potions that are 2s. They're most likely to be curing because if you're going to have 2 of something early, it's probably curing, but no. We've got Brilliance and Haste. That's a Death and a Zin altar. We also just picked up a Wand of Scattershot. That's an interesting item to find really early. I think it's not a great wand without evocations training, but this early in the game it's definitely good because it's going to shred everything. It's especially good against enemies that have low AC because it fires a whole bunch of different shards of metal. Let's quaff again. And each one of those rolls against the AC of the opponent, so low AC things just get murdered by it. Good, we reached level 5. We got Int on our random level up. I'm trying to just heal up in peace, but all this stuff keeps coming. Please go away. Okay, here's a book. It's a book of cantrips. I thought we were going to get extremely lucky and maybe get a hexing book. No. You might think Confusing Touch, hey, that's a hex. That's true, but you can only Confusing Touch if you don't have a weapon in hand, i.e. you have to be unarmed. So I'm not going to do that. Animate Skeleton, I don't remember... I don't remember the answer. If you animate Skeleton when you're a regular species, you still get the meat chunks, but I can't remember if a vampire gets blood out of something they animate Skeleton. I'm not going to learn that spell anyway, just because it gets kind of annoying to use. Again, that's a really good spell though. We will learn Application though. Not going to train it yet, and then we'll ditch the book. Our stealth is already up to 7, which is the power of a +5 aptitude in something. Vampires are so good at stealth. We have 28 potions of blood. Let's ID more potions. We've got another 2 or something. That's curing. Alright, found it. So now we're definitely not afraid of any worker ants, even if we have our poison. Man, look at these poison needles. We're up to 37. That's crazy. We enter a teleport trap. We're okay. We're too stealthy for this guy. Please come back. Oh, okay. Well, we're about to get even more needles. This kobold is shooting us with his own blowgun. This is really bad. I think what we do here is we switch to our bat form. We actually failed it, okay. So it turns out, man, I really hate this. When you are able to fail your innate abilities, it's so lame. In that case, we could die here if both these orcs hit us. I think we just start walking away. How much damage can he do? 5 plus his hand axe. He can't kill us, just him. So let's bat form again. Alright, there we go. And now we just peace out of here with our bat speed. Let's not accidentally run into the unknown, which I keep nearly doing. Alright, we'll heal up here. He's still coming. Go away. You feel almost devoid of blood. We don't want to be near bloodless. So AG ends our transformation. We go back to being a vampire again. Yeah, how do you fail to become a bat when you're a vampire? It's who you are. How do you fail that? We have. Okay, I'm just changing. I'm gonna change my blowgun back to B. The number of times I've done this, where I keep forgetting that we have the whip of Elec. So I'm hitting apostrophe, and I keep going. I'm trying to find the blowgun, and I keep going to the whip of Elec. But we have 39 needles of poison, so I think we should be pretty spam happy with those. Alright, we're also going to pick up basically all the ranged projectiles we can find. In this case, 2 tomahawks, or 5 in fact. Because as we get more throwing, we'll be able to move away from just the blowgun into actually throwing projectiles. We could pick up the ringmail. We can't use it yet because we've got a leather armor that's cursed on. So I guess I'll just leave it. Alright, on to D4. Let's get a stab in. Okay, can't get blood out of a worm. Feels bad. Okay, at this point, I think our training is going fine. I think I want to turn on fighting. Fighting gives you more HP. It's something that I don't like skimping on it. Hey, that's our god. I was going to say D4 is the first floor that you can find the temple on. We'll come back in a sec. I still want to read my scrolls though. The reason I came back to stairs is because when you read the teleport like this, you want to go back upstairs. You don't want to get thrown into an unexplored level. Enchant armor. Let's put it on our cloak. Alright, so let's go get Uskayaw. Uskayaw the Reveler is a god of ecstatic dance. This reminds me of River Dance, or Lord of the Dance. On the surface, Uskayaw appreciates many forms of worship, but in the dungeon most worshippers stick to the dance of combat. Uskayaw appreciates the passion and rhythm of combat, rewarding followers for each strike they deliver and for the damage they deal their foes. The longer the dance continues, the greater powers Uskayaw offers. When the dance ends, Uskayaw quickly loses interest. I feel like that was very poetic and beautiful, but told you very, very little about the god. The way that this god works is very unique among crawl gods. You gain and lose piety extremely quickly. When you're not fighting, you walk around with 0 piety, and as you start to hurt things, your piety really quickly ramps up. So, yeah, it's not like most gods where you build up piety over the course of the game, and as you use your abilities, they go back down. Instead, all fights you'll start with 0, unless you quickly transition from one fight into a new one. And as your piety ramps up, you get these abilities here. You get a stomp. How about the powers page? This might explain it a bit better. You can stomp to damage foes around you. That doesn't really tell you. I guess this page is better. So you get a stomp, which hits adjacent enemies. You get a line pass, which lets you move through enemies, and as you do so, you'll confuse them. When you get to 3 points of piety, everyone will get briefly paralyzed. And that's one of the reasons why being a stabber is really good, because you get stabs off the paralysis. Stabs do huge amounts of damage, which really ramps your piety up from that point. At 4 pips of piety, what is this one called? It's called Bond Pain or Share Pain, I think, or Pain Bond. Yeah, that's the one, Pain Bond. All damage will be shared by monsters that have the same status. So if they're all paralyzed, you can potentially stab and kill everything at once. If you make it up to 5 and 6 piety, you can insta-kill anyone. Okay, and basically all these abilities work off your invocations. Yes, we want to join. Unfortunately, vampires aren't very good at invocations. They're a -1. That's not horrible, I guess, but most species, I'd say, are at least 0. Anyway, we're going to do that. So we're now spreading our trading really thin. This might seem kind of crazy because we're not focusing any particular skill. I mean, normally, you want to train your weapon to Mindale or something, but For a short blade, it doesn't really matter. It's like we have a dual offense. It's short blades plus stealth. And then throwing is another offense too. I don't know. The point is we're training 6 skills. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 6 skills at once and I don't care. Fight me. We're going to try to stab this worker ant. We got him. I'm going to say that worker ant was standing on the scroll rather than was carrying it. Because if the ants have learnt how to read scrolls, we're in a lot of trouble. I for one welcome our new ant overlords. Cut him around, wait till he dies to poison, and then we'll chop up his corpse into some blood. He netted us! Oh, I saw. Wait, whoa. Hang on. A couple of things going on. First of all, I accidentally just tried to quit my OBS. Are you sure you wish to exit? No. Please keep recording. Okay, we're good. The second thing that I just got excited about is you can import nets. And I think you can import it off yourself. You can definitely import it off enemies. Can you import it off yourself? Oh, you can. No, you can't target yourself. Oh, that's not fair. If we had blink, we could try to blink out of it. Okay, so this net's gone. We're going to have to struggle out of it. And as we struggle out of it, it'll be destroyed. I was hoping we could import it and then save it. That's really good because nets... Not only are they extremely overpowered normally, but it's actually a tool you can use to stab things because you get a stabbing bonus when things are netted. But alas, a port can't target yourself. That's so unfair. I'm doing it again because I can't even hit the right square. There we go. No, won't let us. That's not fair at all. Alright, well let's hit him with the poison a few times and then just kite him back. I really wanted his net. Same plan. Okay. We're going to do a similar thing with the wizard. We have potions of curing, so I'm not afraid that he's just going to confuse us and then kill us from full HP. Also because we see invis, he can't go invis and do his invis shenanigans. I'm going to pick strength again. Okay. So see how quickly, I'm not used to this, our piety is immediately going up. Well, of course, because as soon as you worship Yusk, as soon as you worship him, you start getting all this stuff. So yeah, we've got Stomp, which you get at 1 piety, and Line Pass, which you get at 2. You can have a look at these abilities. For Stomp, you have to be adjacent to a monster. For Line Pass, I don't know, do you need to be... No, that doesn't work. Maybe you have to be adjacent to them. Let's see, Line Pass. Do I pick the enemy I want to pass through or the durate where I want to land? Okay. It looks like where I want to land. So he's being briefly confused. Then we get to stab him. It doesn't last very long because... Oh, there's an Orc Priest. Let's chill and heal back up. Because the confused duration depends on your invocation skill. Alright. This guy can smite for up to 17. We've got 44 HP. And in a complete emergency, we could want to scattershot him. So I'm not afraid that we're going to die to just one Orc Priest on his own. That's a D4 white pack. That's something. They're immune to poison, so that makes most of our strategies a lot less strong, seeing as we're relying on poison. I shot that needle at him to get his attention, but it was never going to hurt him. Probably what I should be doing is in fact throwing tomahawks. Or maybe even stones. What are we going to do? He's got a falchion of flaming. When we're thirsty, we've got 2 points of RN, which helps us against their draining attacks. I think we go... We still don't have remove curse, so I don't really want to try on the short sword of flaming. So let's go the whip of Elec. And if you press Shift F, you can throw things without quivering them. I guess we'll just quiver our stones again. Let's throw some stones. Did not work. Whoa, okay. We proc the lightning on that first hit and we just one-shot him. That's what I was talking about. That's what your Elec weapons do in the early game when they proc. He's just got an enchanted war axe. This might be really high. Whites can have really enchanted weapons. He's got a Flail of Freezing. But we've also got a point of RC, so I'm not too afraid of that. I am a bit afraid with how much that hurt. Okay, never mind. This must be like a +9 flail. He could kill us with that actually. Bat form 15%. Let's bat form. Please no die. How do you fail to be a bat? Oh man. Okay, never mind. We're out of here. I really don't like how species fail their innate abilities. How does a Tengu fail to fly? How does a deep dwarf fail to heal? Don't like it. Join to 3. He has a longsword of freezing. Got the lightning. Yeah. D4 is really, really early for a white pack, by the way. That's why these guys are so hard. They're difficult enough on D7 or 8. To see one on D4 are very early. Get a scroll. I'm going to pull out our blowgun to poison the worker ant, or at least try. This is so greedy. I don't know. I wanted to run in and stab it. I don't know why. It hadn't seen us yet. And more nulls. Alright, here are the whites. I want to heal up before we actually try to fight them. Let's go. No, he hurts too much. Let's bat form out of here. We actually used it this time. Can you drink blood when you're a bat? Yes, you can. I assume if you go all the way back up to full, that you'll lose access to bat form, and so you just switch immediately out of it. But I've never tried that. Should have the dagger out for this stabbing, not the whip. Alright, how are we going to fight this white? I don't know. I guess we just hope that we get lightning procs. Like that. We got 2 swings, 2 lightning procs. Calculated. Let's go again. We'll pull our dagger out because he hasn't seen us, so we can try to stab him. Yeah, okay, we mostly got him. And we've got line pass, so let's confuse him. Yeah, you have to pick the tile you want to end up on. You've got to go completely through them. Alright, that's pretty powerful. On to D5. And I think maybe we might end this one here. We'll just do one final QQ. That's the motto for vampires, by the way, is don't QQ, just QQ. So yeah, check the description. I'll put the options for that. If you join me in the next one, we'll be heading down to D8, which is where Lamb might spawn. I'd normally say that I'd try to build up the God Piety, but that's not the case for this one, because we've already kind of got it going. But I guess what we'll do instead is we'll just develop our 6 skills at once. See you next time.